What's up, YouTube? Twin A here. The morning of Tuesday, February 16th, my station, we responded to an apartment fire that is being described as a once in a career kind of fire with a victim rescue and everything. We will be discussing that here in this video. Just something to note, when the call was originally dispatched, my truck was actually on another call at the time, and we had to wait the 2 minutes or so to be cleared from that before we could go to the fire. So that's just something to keep in mind when I start talking about it. To get us started, though, I'm just going to show the news segment from KOAT Action 7 News locally that covered it to give you an idea of what happened. Please be sure to comment down below what you think and if you have any questions. And as always, please subscribe. It is free and it helps my twin and I out greatly. Thank you guys and love you all.
It was 2 a.m. Tuesday.
They're coming! They're coming!
Screams for help after an apartment erupts in flames.
We do have black smoke coming from the alpha side, the east side of the complex. I do have someone hanging out the windows.
He had one leg over the windowsill.
When he threw something out the window, there's on fire on the ground.
I can only imagine his desperation at throwing flaming pillows out of the window as a landing pad.
The apartment was fully involved, so his only exit plan was that window. The front living room, everything else that led to the front door of the apartment was fully involved in fire.
We knew right away what needed to happen.
Throw a 24-foot extension ladder on the side you're coming in.
We coaxed the victim down the ladder, which I can imagine being very nerve-wracking for him.
You can see the ladder leading up to that charred window.
Flames were already shooting out the front window. The fire was already starting to roll on the ceiling.
You could definitely see the gratitude in his eyes that he was glad to be out of that situation. I can only imagine his desperation at preparing to jump out of a window and then seeing help coming around the corner.
The man who lived in that apartment alive, thanks to the teamwork between fire crews.
Everyone played a role and everyone did their job really well.
It made us really feel like we made a difference. That's something that, maybe sometimes you don't feel every day.
It feels great to be able to save someone's life.
A call these firefighters will carry with them for the rest of their careers. Sasha Leninger, KOAT Action 7 News.
Take it from the top for YouTube. Now, I can always re-edit it for YouTube if needed. But the long story short is we were at a fire alarm call at an apartment complex. And in turn, when this fire went out for an apartment fire one district over, we were kept off the run string because we were on another call, meaning, hey, we need to be here. We can't go to this other one. About a minute, maybe 2 minutes later, the dispatcher on the radio says, all units going, be advised. Callers are reporting that there's somebody yelling for help from the third floor, and we're getting more calls that there's a lot of smoke coming from one of the windows. And our key indicators that we listen to know if it's what are the odds of it being a legitimate fire, because sometimes it's somebody having a barbecue in their backyard and people think, oh my god, their building is on fire, and they call 911. One of our indicators is multiple calls from different people on it. And as luck or fate would have it, right when we heard that, a truck pulls up to the apartment where we're at with the pull station, and it's the maintenance guy. And we tell him, it's hey, there's a fire over. Do you have this? And he said, yeah, I've got it. Great. We grab our stuff, jump in the truck, radio to alarm, and say, hey, we're available. Can you put us on that fire? And they say yes. For those who don't know, I'm the driver, also known as the engineer in other departments. So that is my job, not to be all memey about it, but I drive. And this was far and away the best driving I've ever done in my life. I flew to get us there because we weren't expecting to be the first ones there. There were at least two fire engines that were closer than us. And so we were expecting okay, let's find a fire hydrant. Let's back them up. Let's do what we've got to do. Our rescue, the rescue being the ambulance truck in our fire station, the two firefighters pull up, and other Kyle, also known as Case, who might be in here, I don't even know. He was the first one there, and he gave what's called the size up. The radio report of, hey, what's going on? And he said, We do have heavy smoke coming from the 3rd floor, a working fire, and there is somebody partially hanging out of the window. We have what's called an urgent rescue profile, meaning there is a known trapped victim. He is on the 3rd floor of this fire, and he needs us now. I'm flying, like my heart sinks at the thought that somebody is now trapped in an apartment that's on fire. They can't get out, and they're almost attempting to jump. As it turns out, we were the first truck there. I went so fast that I got us immediately there, and the turning into there with how the gate was and cars were parked, I couldn't park close. So I kind of turned in, had to stop. The 3 other guys on the truck jumped out and immediately grabbed a ladder, a 24-foot extension ladder, which was the tallest we had on us. Grabbed it, took off running. I repositioned the truck, and by the time I got to where they were, which was 10 seconds, they already had it up. And the guy you saw in the news report, Matt, also known as Power Stance in this stream, he was up the ladder and starting to coach the guy down. So here is, let's see. Yeah, I'm not really blocking anything with this. This was the only picture taken of the incident, and this was taken after the victim was already removed and we already put water on it. So the smoke isn't even as bad as it was, and the heat at this point wasn't nearly as bad. So I guess you guys can't see the mouse. That's where I thought I had it turned on. But right on the left side, you see you see those little red lights. That is my truck. That's where I parked, and the hose is coming from it. That's our ladder setup. And that's where that window that you're seeing is where the guy was going to jump. He, in a desperation move, it's kind of hard to see, but towards the base or towards the bottom of it, like almost in front of the ladder, you can see some little rubble there. Let me see if I can zoom in. The pile that you see down here at the bottom, that was pillows. The guy threw some burning pillows out of his window when we were pulling up with the intent of using it as like a crash pad or a landing pad. That is how desperate he was to get out of there. The fire was creeping into his room and he needed to get out. He didn't know if help was going to be there on time. So when we pulled up, it was one leg was out the window and he was starting to crawl out to just try and make a jump. Like, I've got nothing else to lose. Hope I can land on the pillows. Dylan, our rookie who was there, and Tommy, the rescue driver, both did what's called bucking the ladder. Basically, they held the ladder to make sure it was as stable as possible. Matt went up while my Lieutenant Josh and Lieutenant Kyle were both trying to coach and like get everything else organized. What I was doing at this point was pulling the hose lines that you see, because there's still a fire while these 5 are working on getting this victim removed. I'm pulling hose lines and getting them in place because it's put out by now, but those pillows were on fire and actually right next to the guys, but the guys couldn't worry about it. They had to get this victim down. We have a PJ named Caleb. PJ, he's an Air Force medic student he's basically training to be a jumper. So, the medics that jump into the bad situations, get people out, take care of them. And so he's our medic student. I called him since he couldn't help with that, and he was helping me get the hose lines set up. It was absolutely insane, but it was so quick. We got him down. At that point, more trucks were showing up, and we were able to get the guy on a gurney and immediately rushed to the hospital. I don't know his exact condition, but from what I've been told, he's expected to make a good recovery. I'm sure his lungs are absolutely hating him right now because that's a lot of heat and a lot of smoke that he was breathing in. But we saved his life. And I will say this, since I saw your question, Kelsey, how bad was the smoke inhalation? I don't know the exact details of it. Just when he got out, like his face was like black with ash and soot and smoke. Like he breathed in a lot of heat and a lot of smoke during this. So at this point we have him out and we have 2 hose lines pulled. The first one, the smaller one, which is what you see this guy holding right here, is an 1 3/4 hand line. So it's our most common used hose line, and he's using it and he's spraying up into there. We did confirm with the victim that he was the only one in the apartment, but we did what's called a transitional attack, meaning we sprayed on the outside to cool it off and try to make conditions better for us to gain access and better if there is anybody else in there. And while he was doing that, my guys were pulling a 2.5-inch hose line, which gives you so much more water. They were pulling it around. At the time, we all thought that this apartment was one of those that like they were going to go through a door and it was going to be an indoors apartment. As it turns out, the other side of this building, so the other side of the building is actually almost like the front of a motel. Like it was all outdoors to reach everything. So, and this is like an absolute amazing, and unfortunately, but fortunately, my role as a driver at this point is to play support. When I do my job right and get us there first, it means that I don't usually get to go into the fire. And real quick, Astral, normally I love to interact with Chad and read comments. I will, but I'm trying to tell this story for YouTube as well. So I apologize if I'm not reading chat just yet, but I promise you I will, and I'll answer all questions. So yeah, my role is more of a support role at this point, and I'm getting everything I can ready, tools down that they'll need, whatever I can. While the 2 pipemen, Matt and our rookie, Dylan, are pulling the 2.5-inch hose line, which is a heavy hose to pull. Like, it's not a joke. These guys are monsters with just how physically fit they are for this reason. My lieutenant, Josh, and the rescue driver, Tommy, take what's called water cans. And it was literally 2, like, 2.5 gallon pressurized, not hydrants, extinguishers that are just filled with water. They open up the door and flames are rolling over them. So the windows are blown out. It's introduced oxygen to the fire, which is just more fuel for the fire. And fire is blowing up, and they are going in because they can't wait on the hose line if there's somebody else in there. And they're literally attacking the fire with 2.5 gallon pressurized water cans. They find an extinguisher that's like on the wall of the apartment. They grab that and use that. And they are fighting this fire to get to any other victims without even having a hose readily available because it's on the 3rd floor. The other guys get the hose up, and at this point, more units are pulling up. The guys you see in this picture, well, I guess my camera's blocking one of them. These are from other crews who are now here to help out and assist any way they can. And yeah, the guys get up there with the hose line and they start putting out the fire. While this is going on, more crazy stuff happens. Other crews are now evacuating the apartment complex. This fire is borderline out of control. It is hot and it is starting to spread into the apartments adjacent to it. And so crews are going and telling people, hey, you need to get out of here. You need to go. I don't know what happened, but 2 individuals who were residents of the apartment complex, I guess they started fighting, got into an altercation, and one of the firefighters, I'm not exactly sure who, but a firefighter broke it up and said, hey, now is not the time. That's on fire. You go this way, you go this way, stop fighting. Well, one of the guys ran back up and into his apartment, I guess, which from what I understand was on the 3rd floor, and came out brandishing a butcher knife, a good sized knife. And I guess he was about 20 feet away from Tommy and other Kyle, the 2 medics on the rescue. Tommy just came out of the fire to go get more stuff for it. And Kyle's up there kind of running the command on that side saying, you go do this, you go do this, you go do this. And this guy comes out with a butcher knife. It's about 20 feet away. Found out Kyle took off his helmet to use as like a weapon to defend himself. And Tommy had to like posture up and yell at the guy to stop and stop. The police were already en route because we let them know, hey, two guys are fighting. Unfortunately, they got there in time. I don't know what ended up happening to the guy with the butcher knife. I was told that he was escorted away by police, but it was pretty crazy that like I'm assuming here, and this is strictly speculation. I'd imagine he had to have something not all there in the head because there's a fire and he was wielding a knife towards firefighters like for no apparent reason. So hopefully if there is mental problems that individual is able to seek help. Yeah, we were able to get the fire out. It took a while. We had to go into the buildings next to it. We used our thermal imaging camera, a tick, and we saw like, hey, this wall is approaching 200 degrees. So we had to put holes in it and spray water in from the other apartment buildings. We were able to get it under control. The Red Cross was called out to help the people who had to leave their homes because of this fire. It was absolutely nutty. And it's funny too because weather was predicted to start snowing at 3 a.m. And I don't know what Mother Nature had in store, but I want to say thank you because we got there around 1:30 a.m. I think. I might be slightly off that timing. We were done with the fire around 4:30 in the morning, and then it started snowing. So it waited until we were done and safe and now packing up before it started snowing. Crews started clearing out. And here's the thing about the job. As is the case when you run really bad calls, after a fire, we go back to the fire station, we take showers, we get everything cleaned up, and we're ready to go again. And despite fighting a fire all night, we ended up running 3 more calls that night. The one immediately after that, I want to say it was like somebody hurt his elbow or hurt their elbow. I forget the exact details. We ran on an assault call where some people got into a fight and somebody was, they didn't have as good of a time, clearly, which is sad that that case happened. We ran on somebody who fell, I want to say. Like, I'm so tired, all the calls kind of blended together. And that morning, the fire chief of the department, the deputy chief of operations, who's basically the second in control or in command, if you would, our battalion fire chief, and like everybody came to the station, brought burritos, a breakfast for us, and we sat down and talked about it after basically not having slept all night. We got like 2 hours in maybe, had breakfast with the chiefs and explained to them what happened. What's up, Highlight for Real? What's up, Wretched? So, yeah, it was absolutely insane. Like, we were not supposed to be the first ones in. We had a delayed start. And I've said this time and time again. I never want bad things to happen to anybody. Just fact. I wish that we wouldn't have to worry about anything going wrong. Fact of the matter is it will. So I want to be the one there when things do go wrong. I want to use my skills. I know how hard my crew trains. Every single shift, we are going over tactics we would do. We're training physically, mentally. When we're driving by random apartment complexes, we're like, hey, what would you do here? How would you tackle this? What would you do? This apartment complex we're not familiar with. It's not our district. We weren't supposed to be there. We weren't supposed to be there first, I'll say. We got there first. because I drove like a bat out of hell and we were able to save this guy's life. And the fact of the matter is that this is a once in a career call. Like, there is a good shot. I'll be able to retire in 20 years, 19 years. There's a good shot I will never, ever, ever run on a call like this again. And I'm like wanting to cry because it was the best case scenario for the worst case. Like, everything worked out and we were able to save somebody's life and make a difference. So in that shift, we ran on somebody who got shot, somebody who was trapped in a third floor apartment fire and about to jump out. We ran on somebody's father who was about to crash and code, and we were able to get there just in time to save their life. What else did we run on? We ran on like somebody who fell. It's like we train and prep for everything. And I truly believe that my station, we have pound for pound one of the best crews in the world. Like, we bust our asses for situations like this. So I don't know, it was awesome. Like, not every story has a happy ending. This one did. And I am so, so grateful, because 20 more seconds and I think that guy would have jumped. Like, 1 foot out with 2 burning pillows thrown out as a landing pad. Yeah, it was nuts. So I'm gonna open the phones to you guys. Like, what kind of questions do you have? Like, I'm happy to go over anything that I might have missed. Yeah, like, just ask away. Like, let's talk for a little bit. I don't know what caused the fire. I will say this, because I did go in there to check it out after all was said and done. You know what I mean, Fortune. The apartment had what's referred to as a heavy fuel load. The individual, like, I can't say if it was a hoarder apartment, but there was a lot of stuff in there that could catch fire. So I don't know. They don't think it was arson. They don't, like, last I heard, they don't think it was an intentional fire, but he was definitely trapped in there, and there was a lot of fire. Like, the entire room the bedroom, everything was just burned black. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Sounds like you have a well-built team. Much love. Hey, much love, Wolf. Thank you. I appreciate it. Dude, Dark Knight, thank you so much, man. Thank you. Thank you, everybody who's here. Dark Knight, I'm absolutely making sure that my crew knows that you, that came from you. Let me remember to turn that on, too. So thank you. Citrine, hey, what's up, Carrie? Just say that you did something absolutely wonderful. Saving lives is always a good thing. Mad respect you and your team. Thank you so much. The fact of the matter is this. Every single person in my department became a firefighter because we love helping people, because we want to help people. And I am so grateful to have been given the opportunity to save lives. As I said, not every story has a happy ending, but this one did. And I'm so happy about it. Artsy, I missed the question. If you can retype it, I will happily answer it for you. Okay. So and I'm very fortunate that the fire stations that surround us, we all practice and train with it. But we have a set, like, order of operations that we just know we need to do. So the first truck on a fire, their job is 2 things. Rescue anybody, put water on the fire, put the wet stuff on the hot stuff. My truck carries 500 gallons of water. For context, the smaller line that I was talking about, the 1 3/4 inch, flows 150 gallons a minute. So with 500 gallons, I've got about 3 minutes of water in a fire. That is not enough. That's not enough time. So the second due pumper, their job is to find the closest fire hydrant, verify that it's a fire over the radio, and be like, hey, we're standing by a hydrant. Do you need it? Yes, get us water. And then we lay in what's called a 5-inch. It's a 5-inch diameter hose that connects to the front of the hydrant into the truck. So if we were not first in, which we didn't think we were going to be, we were going to grab a hydrant. And so that was what our mindset was, like, look for a hydrant, look for a hydrant, look for a hydrant. We're not familiar with this area. Let's find one. Matt, who I showed you on the news story, he is such an amazing person that, like, he has mapped out a lot of these surrounding areas just in case of this. So he said, hey, there should be a hydrant over here. And that was our mindset. And as we got closer, we realized, hey, the other engine hasn't said they're there yet, but we're not going to be first in. There's no way. Let's look for it. I had a feeling with my driving, there was a chance. And like when I was coming down the main road, still with several blocks to go, I saw another truck already turning in. So I was like, okay, we're going to be second in, but I don't slow down often. I drive safe first and foremost, and then fast. And I'm a very safe, fast driver. And I got us in there. So the second in engine grabbed us a water supply. Long answer short. Get next to a fire hydrant, lay in a water supply so the guys don't run out of water fighting a fire. It's hard to stay optimistic forever, but I'm assuming they teach you a lot of psychology stuff to cope with the bad stuff. Yes and no. That's more of like they warn you what to expect. And they talk about it. It's more they advise on healthy outlets. And what they do is they provide us with resources if you ever feel like you're going down a bad path, or you feel like somebody you work with is going down a bad path. And like the example they use is like, if you find yourself coming home and like kicking your dog out of the way, here's resources. And we have people who are firefighters in the department who volunteer as help. We offer to help each other too. Like anybody in my crew knows right now, if they called me saying they need me, I would end stream and I'd be on my way to their house. If they asked me to pick up a 6-pack on the way, I would. And that's just the relationship we have. Like, I love you guys. I would end the stream right now to go help them, and they would do similar for me. And there's also professional resources that are provided if we need it. After really traumatic incidents too, they will bring a team down to the station if needed, or if the guys think they need one and request it. So like incidents involving children, stuff like that, so that the crew can talk and figure out what they need. And they'll be like, hey, if you're not doing well, just go home. You're off for the rest of the shift. Here's a number to call, or they'll be reaching out to you. Let's get you some appointments and get you help. What's up, Fish? Kelsey, they removed all the fire poles because leave it to firefighters to ruin a good thing. People were getting injured. So Samoas are the best, Briku. I'm not copying, it's just lost, but it was coming back. Oh, thank you, Fortune. I'll scroll up for it. What's up, Fish? Yeah, so we don't have the fire pole. And it's something I love saying is, wow, for once it doesn't actually want me to scroll up. It's called being selective. Get them that. You and your crew are super nice and well trained, especially sleep deprived. Another city of Albuquerque is the best. Station 11 responds and can confirm you do drive that truck safely, even when driving insanely fast without curbing it. I haven't curbed it in 2 months. Thank you very much. But no, thank you so much. Thank you for that. Wolf, every shift that happens to my station, that almost happened with this fire, except we were allowed to go back to the station to get cleaned up because, you know, carcinogens, stuff that causes cancer is all over us, and we need to wash that off as fast as we can.